So I didn't spend hours studying this week. I've read about like 5 pages of my book. Actually, it's right here. I read like 5 pages of my book. I watched like maybe 3 YouTube videos, like a couple MMA videos, and like a old lady farming, and that's pretty much it. I sat down for my lesson, and I was surprisingly more prepared than ever. And honestly, the secret is that it's just all about patterns. And I'm here to explain how you can use those patterns to to learn the language that you're trying to learn and actually use it. Point number one is follow your interests. I've only read what I've wanted to, which, like I said before, was 5 pages. I only listened to what I wanted to. YouTube videos. It was my topics of interest. I mainly watched MMA. I watched some fishing videos and lifestyle videos like the old lady farming, which I picked that up actually from my interest in Spanish. I wasn't watching that before, and like some Colombian lifestyle videos. That's about it. The key is that you have to enjoy the input because the more you pay attention, the more likely you are to remember it and actually stick to it. You don't have to force yourself into a rigid plan for it to count. That's be something that you're already doing. Point number two, you gotta make sure that your habits and your inputs overlap. Instead of keeping my reading, my listening, and my lessons all separate, I let them feed into each other. If I read a phrase in my book, I try to notice them in YouTube videos. And when it pops up, it's in my lesson. It's like I'm meeting an old friend, pretty much, and talking to him. That creates an overlap without repetition, without boredom, and that's where the patterns start to show. I use an app called LangQ actually. It's pretty good because you can like take whatever YouTube video that you're watching, and you can put it into the app, have it with subtitles. So I normally just I read a little, I listen to it a little bit first, and then I read it, and then I listen to it again while just doing random things. So it's like you're stacking all those inputs together, and then you can even slow it down and try and shadow it, which is also what I try and do. And it's all low effort tasks. You do it in the morning, and you can optionally do it at night. And then while that's floating around in your head, you take your language lesson, and you know, surprisingly, one, two, three of those words pop up in that lesson. You're like, oh, I remember that. That's pretty cool. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's how I'm making progress in language. Point number three, and I feel like it's the most important point. Last lesson, I logged in thinking, yeah, this one's gonna be rough, Like I hadn't done what most people call real studying, no marathon, flashcard sessions, no grammar drills, nothing. And honestly, if this had been me a year ago, I kind of would have went into panic mode because I didn't really have that built up storage that I was talking about from watching the videos and reading and things like that. But as soon as my tutor started speaking, something strange happened. Like my brain lit up because I was recognizing the words and phrases that he used. Not all of them, but like enough to keep the conversation moving. I was just hearing random Spanish sounds like normal, but I was actually catching the meaning. And the weird part is that I realized that I'd seen or heard most of these videos early in the week in different places, like in the MMA video, in like the farming video. One phrase was from the 5 pages I read in my book, and another had popped up in a YouTube video I watched while I was making breakfast, and then another. And I came from something I read completely different context, but now here was my lesson fitting perfectly. It wasn't random. My reading and listening accidentally prepared me. Thing is, I used to think that language learning was supposed to be like a grind. I'd separate everything naively, like flashcards into one block, listening to another, speaking, reading, writing into this own little box. And you know what happened? I skipped half of it. It was too much to juggle. I honestly felt like my brain was just treating each activity as like a separate chore. I have many other things going on outside of language learning. So if it's taking up all that time, one of those things has to go. And I feel like none of it should go. It should all work together to make you a better person. So over the last couple of months, without even realizing it, I started doing the opposite. I started obsessing over how much time I was spending, started focusing on making all of the inputs connect. And if I read something, I wanted it to be the same kind of content that I actually hear in like a real conversation. If I listened to something, I wanted it to be about topics I naturally talk about. And when I went to my lesson, I didn't try to impress my tutor with random new vocabulary. I just used what I'd been like bumping into the whole week. And that's when the breakthrough hit me. I let in my reading, my listening, my speaking all overlap. I was doing less but getting more of the results. And the patterns like still started building on themselves. Like I noticed like the endings of certain words and things like that, and like learning grammar that way from reading the book, that really helped my grammar surprisingly. And then um like the same phrase might appear in like a YouTube video, and then listening to my teacher in my lesson, and every time I saw it or I heard it, it got clearer and clearer. Here's the lesson that I walked away with. It's not about the number of hours you put in. It's about making every minute count twice by connecting it to something else you're already doing. So instead of scattering your energy across 10 different activities, how about you find ways to make the things that you're already doing, you already enjoy, like reading, listening, watching videos, feel directly into your speaking. That way, even if you slack off, you're still laying down the bricks for the next time you show up to speak. And it's pretty much just relaxing. You're enjoying relaxing and still getting work done. So I helped you realize that prepping between lessons doesn't mean hours of study. It's about showing up ready to engage your last lesson, fresh, some light practice done, like not having a scattered mind, and enjoying what you're learning so you can stick with it. When everything you do works together and works for you, you don't really need motivation to keep going. You're just something that you are.